The IRS is not fair.
It's not.
Their best interest is them and not you.
How fast can this be resolved?
30 days. That's our guarantee.
Can the IRS really take my business bank account? Will they take my paycheck?
Yes. I had a client who got a wage garnishment and they left her $2.
You don't need to be scared. You just need to call us.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm fantastic.
Wonderful.
How are you?
I'm good.
We are blessed by the best and highly favored.
Yes. So we wanted to take this opportunity. I'm Michele Newman with Real Tax Debt Relief. This is my husband Tyrone, Real Tax Debt Relief. We've been in business for over 25 years. And we wanted to take this opportunity to really let people know what we do in terms of who we really are and how we can best serve the clients that need us.
Absolutely. And she's absolutely the best part of me. Don't know what I did. God to bless me, but he did it, and I'm grateful. We're going to talk today a little bit about, first off, I guess kind of describing what our ideal client. We are resolution. My wife is resolution experts representing people before the IRS. So we are going to talk a little bit about what that perfect client looks like for us.
Right. Who we best serve, as tax resolution experts, dealing with the IRS for most taxpayers, for most people, is a scary thing. But we do it day in, day out, and we best serve, entrepreneurs, that small business owner who, high income earners.
Absolutely.
Who typically will earn over $100,000. They may owe $50,000 or more to the IRS or have multiple unfiled tax returns. And our objective really, we want to help those who are really ready to get the IRS off their backs. We achieve that within a 30-day window of a client coming on board with us for assistance. Oftentimes you have that small business owner who is, they're very smart. They're perfect at what they do relative to a business. But there's so many hats that a small business owner wears that oftentimes the frustration comes in dealing with the IRS.
Yeah, and plus too, they're busy, working in the business and not on the business. And often, most times, we hear the cliche that they're the clog in the wheel.
Right.
So God has blessed us to where we've been equipped with a unique, different level of experience, of expertise and knowledge. On behalf of Michele, she taught tax school for Purdue University for over 10 years. Other tax professionals, other EAs, tax attorneys, and CPAs. She taught thousands of them, tax law for Purdue and traveled around Indiana. So it gave her a different level of expertise with a multiple amount of scenarios. So we're grateful. We want to just reach out to people who are in trouble. Like she said, she knows that, and we know that, people are successful in their businesses.
But they're busy running a business.
Exactly.
They're busy running. And it makes, there's a costly mistakes that happen when it comes down to not being in compliance with the IRS, not filing the tax returns that's needed to be filed, not paying estimated tax, payments, So really that person who's looking for the expertise, who is looking to get the problem solved, they want to protect their assets, they want permanent tax resolution. That's what we do.
Look no further.
Right. So, if they want to regain control
Absolutely.
of, and eliminate their sleepless nights and enjoy their families again, that's what it's all about,
Put their fears to bed, to rest.
For us.
That's it.
So, we don't want them to have to be constantly concerned with, the next IRS letter or the next certified notice that, that they may receive. So again, as we look at who our current clients are and the state that they're in when they come to us, from what our experience has been is that they're frustrated, they're stressed, they're ashamed, overwhelmed with the IRS notices, with the liens, with the penalties. You know, the business cash flow is tight. So they're afraid that their accounts are going to get frozen or they're going to get levied. They're scared. They're scared of losing what they work hard for. So we definitely don't want to see them in that position, and we want to do all we can, to help them, They believe, go ahead.
No, I was just getting ready to ask, you know what I'm saying? So, out of all of the different scenarios and, experiences that we've helped clients, what seems to be what they want most?
Well, they want to, be able to come out of this without going into a state of bankruptcy, and they want to know someone is going to help them really manage the IRS problem to get them back on track. So as we look at, they want relief, freedom from the IRS, a plan of strategy that really puts them back, like I said, in control. They want peace of mind, and that's just part of our process. The ability to grow their business again. They want to be able to trust that professional that's helping them handle things correctly. They want to know that they can rely on, someone that has got their back.
Which oftentimes, out here in today's climate, most companies are taking people for rides.
Right.
Unfortunately.
And at the end of the day, they want to pay less to the IRS.
That's it.
You want to pay less, and we're going to look at under every rock to make that happen. They want to avoid liens. Typically a person who owns a home, they don't want a tax lien against their property.
That's right.
They don't want to look up and their bank account is levied.
Yeah, because nowadays in today's climate, people are trying to get recertified, home equity loans and things like that. They're trying to get refinanced and things like that. So if you can't do that if you have a lien or levy.
So what would you say is the top 3 fears?
Well,
or top 3 daily frustrations that our clients that come to us experience?
Well, typically what actually I think is the most is the letter. If they, they don't want to see a new letter out there in the mailbox from the IRS, and typically if it does have the IRS logo on it, they really don't want to open it. And unfortunately, a lot of them think that if they don't open it, it's going to help them avoid, what's coming.
It's not going to happen.
It's not. You're right. And that's not the case.
It's not going to happen. I used to actually give out letter openers. I don't know if you remember that.
I do. Come on. Of course I do. We used to put them in the packets.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, in the folders in the
So that was just an encouragement. Please open the letter so we know what they say.
Right. Yeah, for years we did that. And then, the levies, surprise collections, might pop up,
I find that, when people call us initially that they're confused. They don't really know how much they owe or why they owe.
Right.
And that's part of our process in very, very beginning is to understand where they are.
The transcripts.
Yes.
Yeah, the guilt and embarrassment, not handling it sooner.
So that's the level of frustration that we see coming in. And the things that, again, cause them pain. The pain points are the sleepless nights.
That's right.
It's the fear of losing their business. Constant anxiety about what the IRS is going to do if they show up. Basically, they want to not be embarrassed in front of the family, and friends, other business partners.
Yeah, a lot of times it puts strains on relationships and marriages.
Yes.
And we want to help you guys avoid any and all of that.
So they're, constantly really on edge on a regular basis.
The other thing is, they understand enough to know that daily the penalties and interest is compound.
Yes.
So, that's usually something that's causing stress and sleepless nights. They know they should deal with it, but
Right. So we know that, they want financial recovery, and that's what we help them do. We don't want them to necessarily call themselves irresponsible. I know they think that they haven't been responsible maybe about the situation and they haven't acted, timely. And yeah, timeliness is very important here if it comes down with the IRS, but it doesn't take away from your credibility as being a business owner.
that's right.
Sure, there may be some concept of change in lifestyle that might be necessary, but that's just part of the process. Honestly, from us, you get the full story. You don't get what sounds good.
That's right. Let me ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Who are they typically angry at?
Well, you mean other than the IRS? Well,
Yeah.
well, it's typically their former accountant or tax preparer
Okay.
who maybe didn't explain things or didn't do something right, or regardless of whether they didn't give all the information that was necessary. But oftentimes it's the prior tax professional because they don't have the knowledge. As a tax resolution specialist, we have a deep dive knowledge into all matters of taxes, from individuals to partnerships to corporations to nonprofit organizations. But there's as an enrolled agent, there's an exam that we have to take. It's a 36-hour exam. Well, now you can take it in parts. When I took it, you had to take it all at once. So it was like a 3-day test. And then there's continuing education that's required every year, 24 hours of continuing education on tax matters. So when it comes down to the tax professional, you want to have somebody that knows what they're doing, that knows the tax law. Right. And as an enrolled agent, we don't have any boundaries. So we're able to help people from New York to California. It doesn't matter. So they blame, the prior tax professional. Sometimes they blame their spouse, because you have a situation where maybe one spouse is their debt.
Yeah.
They're not involved perhaps in the business, or they're the one handling the financial affairs.
Correct. Making the decisions without the other's involvement.
But it becomes a joint liability.
Correct.
So to blame their spouse or they blame themselves, typically because they feel like maybe they should have, could have done something differently. And of course, they feel like the IRS is unfair, especially towards small businesses.
Correct.
And I got to tell you, the IRS is not fair.
It's not.
It's not fair. Their best interest is, their best interest is them and not you. So you need to know the tax law. They try to make it seem like they're there to help you. You have customer service, answering the phones, but they're not going to tell you the details, the nuances behind what the situation is, or what your outcome could be, or what you're disclosing that could trigger a tax lien.
Right, and that's one of their main tactics. They want to try to get as much and glean as much information from you as possible.
Right.
And, unbeknownst to you, you just don't know the things you should and should not tell them.
Right.
We do.
Right.
Michelle does. And it makes a big difference. You understand what they're leading up to, just with their question, just the formula of questions that they ask, sets her on the understanding of what path it is they're thinking about.
Right, you could call us
against you
with a letter, and us knowing what letter that is, the number in the upper right hand corner.
Correct. Yeah, I've watched her do it for years. Oftentimes your person will call and it'll be the first time calling there and say, well, and it just really shook up. I got a letter, from the IRS, and I just, and she'll say, okay, really? She said, do you have it with you? And they say, yeah, I got it right here. Okay, well, do me a favor. Tell me the number that's up there in the upper right hand, corner of the letter. Okay, well then they'll tell her. She said, well, okay, that's okay. That's kind of good. You still got a little time. It always tickles me. You still got a little time before
the next letter.
The next letter is coming
30
out.
days.
Right.
When's the lien going to be issued based on what that notice or letter is? So
And it's amazing. And even that usually, we talk about close rates and things like that. But anyway, I didn't jump way out. But it's like that typically gives the person that she's talking to, a lot of pressure relief and just relief to
just
know
knowing where they are
that
in the
she's
process.
like, wow, she knows exactly what I got really going on just based off of the number that's on the letter that I got.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, that's a whole nother level of knowledge and understanding about how the IRS operates. So,
So when you look at the
great.
things that they typically have tried, that people, taxpayers who have this debt, typically will try before, has put them in a place of not being successful.
Correct.
So we have the do-it-yourself payment plans. Oftentimes people will set up a payment plan, but they call the IRS, and the IRS makes them believe that this is what they have to pay, and all they can do is simply agree to it, but it's a payment they can't even afford. So the do-it-yourself, payment plans, they're put in place, but then they default. Another effort is calling the IRS themselves. When they call themselves and they're trying to set their own plan.
That's typically never a good alternative.
Another.
You don't know what to say to them. You don't know their procedures. You don't know tax law. So that's like going to court without an attorney. You wouldn't do that. So calling the IRS, the same exact thing.
Okay, and then I have to talk about the cheap
Yeah.
tax relief companies.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, so they say they cheap,
Yeah.
but
They're
you
gonna
can't.
nickel
But you
and
but you
dime
can't
to a
look
small
for.
fortune.
You can't look for cheap. You want to look for expertise. You want to look for problem solved. You want to look for relief.
That's right.
You don't want to look for the cheapest price to.
Cheaper doesn't equate to better.
No. And oftentimes these cheap tax relief companies, they disappear, or they fail to actually do the work until you have paid in full what they are extracting from you, essentially. But basically they'll give you
Oftentimes, I didn't mean to interrupt, but oftentimes that's going to be past whatever deadlines the IRS had set up for you, because you now are not paying attention to any letters that you're getting, because you've hired somebody to do that for you. But they're not concerned about the letters themselves either. Until you full pay.
Right. And oftentimes they give you a lowball figure on the front end to do what they call a investigation, and then they'll come back and tell you a very, very unaffordable number, and then they're going to put you on a long 3-year plan to pay. But in the meantime, you don't have 3 years to deal with the IRS.
No.
So you got to really be, aware. We have a kind of like an informational sheet that gives you like the 4 things to look out for a tax resolution company. Make sure that you're using someone who's not ripping you off, and make sure that you're looking for the right things. So
Absolutely. And in the very near future, we're going to be putting out information out here across just about every platform, so that you actually can go out there, look for us, and look for Michelle to keep you informed about what you need to know to keep your business covered and safe. So just look for us here. We're going to have some things coming up here real soon in the very near future about informational.
So there's things that stand in the way, again, of the person with a significant tax liability getting the ultimate resolution. They have these beliefs that aren't necessarily true, because they just don't know. They haven't talked to us. They haven't talked to get the right information. A lot of people will do research online, but it's such a wide array of misinformation that there's some beliefs like you can't afford to fix this. You have no idea what it really takes.
Absolutely.
Or the IRS won't negotiate. And that's not true. They have a variety of resolution programs that's based on your financial circumstances. That's going to dictate your outcome. So you hear the radio ad, you hear, the IRS sell your debt for pennies on a dollar, or no. That's not across the board. That's not just a option. You can't just offer X amount of dollars and the IRS will take it. But when you look at, your situation, it's not too late. The IRS does negotiate, and they won't necessarily come in and just take everything, as long as you have someone that has your best interest, at heart. Will the IRS just forgive my debt if I make a lump sum payment? That's a question a lot of people have. The answer to that, no. It doesn't work like that.
So how do people get these misnomers? Where do they come from?
A lot of it comes from online. A lot of it comes from speaking to people who aren't educated about it. Family or friends, or I heard this or I heard that. Like a common misnomer is I have 3 years to file my tax returns.
And not that any of this has personally worked for them.
No,
but it's just usually typically something that they've heard.
Yeah, something they heard. Okay. I have 3 years to file my tax return. I'm not worried about it. To 3 years, and now we're 6 years in. But at the end of the day, you have to file your tax return every year.
Exactly.
There's a 3-year rule, but that's not it. Okay.
Wow.
And like you said earlier, they believe, well, if I just ignore the notice,
it'll go away.
I can say I didn't get it. No. Believe it or not, those certified letters, they will come back to the IRS and will say undeliverable, but it was attempted.
That's right.
And the IRS is they're gonna send it to the last address of record.
Speak on demographics.
What about it?
Well, what typical ages are we looking at for, I guess, our avatar ideal client?
Well, typically the person that we see that's in this particular situation where, they are a relatively mature taxpayer. So they're between the ages really of 35 and about 60 when they get into life. They have that job where now that they are earning a good living, or they have been in business for a while and now they're in a place of profitability, or on paper anyway. But between the ages like 35 and 60, and oftentimes it's leans towards the male in our demographics, but it's not necessarily exclusively.
No, it's true.
Not exclusively. But it's often business owners, independent contractors. When I say independent contractors, we have professions like real estate agents, construction companies or construction workers, trucking companies or truck drivers. They're treated as 1099 independent contractors. The healthcare industry is huge. You have physicians who, get into a position where they may be working for different hospitals. You have traveling nurses who make a significant, income. And they don't know how to handle the tax ramifications with
Based
that.
in the U.S. typically.
Yeah, based in the U.S. They typically, have some level of college education, but not necessarily required, because a lot of people are self-taught. A lot of people who have small businesses are, entrepreneurial, and they have a business mind.
That's right.
They have the ability to bring to a reality of, something that was in their imagination. They dream.
Don't necessarily have a, business degree or anything from our institution of higher learning, but, they've got and understand how to have and run, and own a successful business. And there's a lot of people out there like that.
Now you have people who are coaches. The coaching industry is one that has a lot of tax issues as well.
So commonly asked questions.
Okay.
Commonly asked questions,
Give me one.
Can the IRS really take my business bank account?
It all depends. That's what I'm going to say.
Will they take my paycheck?
Yes. I had a client who got a wage garnishment, And they left her $2.
I mean, we've heard dozens and dozens over the years. We've heard dozens and dozens of these situations. It's real.
You don't want it to get to that point.
No,
you don't want, that's not the time to, yes, it's the time to address it, but that's not the time to wait to address it. We want to get in front of it. So that's why that notice number in the upper right-hand corner is so important.
How about this one?
How's that?
How much can I settle for?
It all depends on what your finances say.
Yeah. So, do I have to pay everything at once? Will they take a payment plan?
They have different programs, and based on your financial circumstances, it's going to dictate what your actual resolution option is going to be. So, answer is yes.
Now, this question is a bit extreme, but it's real for some. Will I go to jail?
It's possible. Some have. That's not the typical taxpayer that's going to happen, but they have the examples. Oftentimes you have your high power figures, or your actors, or your professionals. Yeah. So,
can you stop the garnishment?
Yes. Well, we have to get things done expediently.
What's the first step to fix this?
The first step is that discovery call.
Oh.
That discovery call.
Right.
Picking up the phone, calling us to find out what your options are.
Okay. And retaining us.
And retaining us. But first step is picking up that phone. I know it's 100 pounds. Sometimes that phone could be 100 pounds. But yes, we have to have a power of attorney. And we're going to go through a walkthrough of what to expect on, on a typical case, the memberships, how we work as a company. But first step is power of attorney, finding out where you are, enabling us to stop whatever actions the IRS is taking by standing in that gap and being able to represent you.
How fast can this be resolved?
Well, we get the IRS off your back within the first 30 days. That's our guarantee of 30 days of you retaining us. And then, depending on your situation, your circumstances, it's going to be a variety of time based on what we have to do.
So speak on that 30 days. How are we able to do that?
Oh, I am an enrolled agent.
Yes,
right?
you are.
So, within that 30 days, typically,
one of the best in the country.
Typically, when I have a power of attorney, I'm talking to them within 24 hours.
Yes. Okay.
So, 30 days is a guarantee.
Do I qualify for an offer in compromise?
Well, most people that call initially, that's their first question, because
why is that?
Because you hear it on the radio.
Yeah.
You hear it on the radio. Mm-hmm. People believe that's just
what to do.
That's what the IRS is
going to end all.
Mm-hmm. Right.
That's
no. The offer in compromise is one of the programs. It's going to be based on your financial circumstances. Mm-hmm. So some people qualify, some people don't. But it's for us to make that determination by doing a thorough financial review of your situation.
Last two questions, I'm going to put them together. Can penalties and interest be removed?
The answer will be yes. There's different kinds of penalties, and there's different procedures, of course, to have those penalties abated. But yes, they can be. When I get penalties removed, I also get the associated interest removed as well.
Well, it's time to kind of speak on, I guess, Real Tax Debt Relief's offer.
Well, we're going to have a whole nother section.
Excellent.
That talks about our offers and what working with us looks like.
Yeah, you already spoke on getting the IRS off their back in 30 days.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Permanent peace of mind and protection from the IRS. Mm-hmm. No broken promises.
Right.
From Real Tax Debt Relief.
Right. And that's one thing we have is our word.
Absolutely.
And what we tell you the truth.
Yeah.
We tell you the truth. And
there's never any future in anyone's fronting anyway. So you might as well speak the truth and be about it, so that.
And see, we don't just file forms. That's not what we do.
No, we seek a permanent.
Right. We engineer a resolution for you.
Absolutely.
We come out with a plan that's really going to be a strategy that gets you into a place of IRS compliance. It's going to reduce your balances typically, once we get involved, the balances go down. Stop any levies that have been initiated. Our objective is to protect your assets.
Absolutely. And then I just want to speak to some things about my wife. She's obviously the best part of me. I've said that once. I really mean that. And we totally believe we're spiritually equally yoked. So all of my weaknesses are her strengths and vice versa. And that's just, I believe, how God intended it. But she has a teacher's anointing. She has a teacher's heart. This is something that we believe together.
Yes.
And I've always been taught that when you're passionate about something, you always just naturally strive to do your best at it. This is what she does. This is more like a ministry to her. So she's always seeking to empower our clients with the knowledge where they can help themselves. And I believe that that's what allows, Real Tax Debt Relief, from Michelle's, basic, just divine anointing to just go to a whole nother level for people and for us. I think it's the main reason why, we have so many 5-star reviews. Mm-hmm. People are just, lives are being changed.
Right. And that's what we strive to do. We strive to be transformational for people. Mm-hmm. Again, it's not just about us filing some forms. Mm-hmm. When we have our client connections, it's more than just figuring out your IRS problem.
Yeah, they really kind of become part of the family. We really kind of take them in. It's like, taxes is a very intimate, personal, subject. When you're just, have to deep dive off into people's personal finances or their corporate or business finances. It doesn't get any more personal than that. So we become close to these people. These people, become in our circle where we're praying for them.
Right. That's part of our process.
Absolutely. And we're covering them in prayer, them, their family, their endeavors, their issues, the warfare that's coming against them. So it's not just, they're not just another number, or, bottom line. It's real. These are real people, and we're offering real solutions, to a permanent end. So,
thus the name.
Correct.
Real Tax Debt Relief.
So we give God always all the praise and honor and glory for it.
So we don't want people coming us to being fearful about, not being taken care of, or believing that the IRS is not going to negotiate. We have, when I talk about, our success rates.
Yes, it's amazing. It's unbelievable, and it's like I said. I think it's over 95%. I mean, she typically, once they get on the phone with Michelle, it's a close. I mean, because the knowledge and the awareness is undeniable. So I think from them, especially if they've talked to anybody else. If they talk to another company or they've talked to another, tax resolution so-called specialist or anything like that, they, even if they do have the knowledge, they're not going to be as forthcoming in sharing with that knowledge as Michelle does and is typically on that intake call. So that has a lot, I think, to do with the close rate being as successful as it is.
Right. Our negotiations with the IRS, we have 100%. I can say this with confidence.
Absolutely.
100% acceptance of the offers that we make to the IRS and negotiations that we make, because we don't file frivolous forms. We don't set you up for unrealistic expectations.
Never.
And we have a thorough understanding of what the outcome is before we go in.
That's right.
So that's where that 100% of negotiation
absolutely
power
right.
comes from.
That's right.
Because we know before we go.
That's right.
You know,
Right.
we have a dedicated resolution coach
Yes.
assigned
For
to
every
you
client.
for every client that comes, through our office. We have a dedicated resolution coach that works with me one-on-one on all of our cases, so that way,
They're all
everyone
great.
stays on
Fantastic.
track.
And they're just as passionate about being helpful and helping and being a blessing to our clients as we are,
Right.
because
So
we prayed for God to send us the right people, and He did that. So
we're not a call center.
no,
When you call, you're going to get the hands-on expert
absolutely
help that you need. Like I said, we've been in business over 25 years.
Yes.
And you don't stay in business over 25 years
without being
by not
successful.
being truthful,
That's right.
by not,
Transparent.
being transparent, by not having or providing or getting the results that people are seeking and needing,
We're not having the community knowledge that we really care about our clients, and we're going to go, the last mile, for them, and we're always going to put our best foot forward. I mean, we're negotiating. Michelle is negotiating, people's, livelihood before the IRS. So that's not, it doesn't really get more serious than that. That's equivalent to, understanding, you've been diagnosed with something that might be extremely grave, in a health situation or a health crisis. So it doesn't get any, more critical than that. So we take what we do very seriously, and God has blessed us to be one of the best at doing it. And so
He afforded me the opportunity to be a tax school instructor with Purdue University. And that allowed me to teach other tax professionals tax law, latest and greatest. I did that for over 10 years. But as a teacher, as an instructor, it's a whole different level of knowledge that has to be within you to teach it.
That's right. You also their tax school coordinator.
Tax school coordinator. So I traveled the state of Indiana, taught, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of other tax professionals tax law. But in that whole dynamic, not very many professionals dealt with resolution.
Exactly.
So resolution is a very, very specialized area. So just because you have a tax preparer, you have an accountant, you have a CPA, doesn't mean they know tax law the way they need to deal with the IRS problem.
Correct.
So when it comes down to having that right professional, there's some, criteria you need to look for, as well. So like I said, being a tax school instructor just showed me how many professionals are out here that don't have the know-how.
That's right. Or the knowledge. And they don't even care to seek training for the knowledge. Yeah. So we're grateful. We just believe that, God is, anointed and appointed her and us for a time such as this. So listen, guys, if you getting letters, if the IRS is involved or trying to become involved in your life in any shape, form, or fashion, you need to call Real Tax Debt Relief and get some real tax debt relief help.
So we're going to combine that strategy mixed with compassion, along with being accountable, and we're going to deliver the results that you are expecting.
With the top uppermost expertise and knowledge, this is going to be the outcome and resolve your issue. You don't need to be scared, you just need to make the right phone call. You don't need to be scared, you just need to call us. She'll handle it. She'll take care of us.
So we talked a lot about the client. We talked a lot about the IRS.
Yes.
Let's talk about us a little bit.
Okay. My favorite subject.
Let's talk about us a little bit, okay?
My favorite subject.
So before we met,
Yes.
I went from engineering
Yes.
to entrepreneuring.
Yes. Very successfully, I might add.
And you've always been an entrepreneur for the age of 15, 16 years old.
My whole life.
But I followed the traditional path.
Yes.
We told, as we grow, at least in my house, as we grow up, you
Right.
go out there, the traditional path is you get a good education, you go to school, you get good grades, you go to college, and then you can come out, you get a good job, and you live happily ever after.
Wow, that sounds like the American dream.
Right. So I did it. I listened. I'm a
sure
good
did.
listener. If that's one thing y'all gonna find out is I'm a good listener.
Oh,
So
Hey.
much so, I listened so well, I went and I got 3 degrees.
the patience of Joe. Yeah, they're on the other side of this wall right here. Yeah, 3
3
degrees.
degrees.
2 of them engineering degrees.
So I got an electrical engineering
Yes.
degree, a
chemical engineering.
chemical engineering degree,
Chemistry
a
degree.
chemistry degree,
Yeah.
but my
Most
highest
important degree hanging
rating
in there.
credential is my enrolled agent status.
Yes.
That allows me to represent clients before the IRS. So I asked God at the age of 35, I asked God to actually allow me to retire by the age of 35.
Praise God.
So for me, retiring was getting away from that traditional 9-to-5 job.
Corporate.
Corporate, right. I realized and recognized that I was an environmental engineer. So I realized that was not for me. After being in corporate America did not appreciate me. And we work with a lot of small businesses, so we understand the true element of the small business owner.
Yes, we do.
So I had a plan, and then God had a plan, and that's what I tell people all the time: is I had a plan, God had a plan.
Yes, you did.
So once I started following God's plan, then
Once you started following God's
stepped
plan,
out on faith.
yeah, He was lining you up for.
And my entrepreneurial spirit
That's right.
was being edified once I walked away.
That's it.
So the freedom of being an entrepreneur is what I love the most in terms of having our own business. Not just you work for yourself, yes,
Right.
but when you leave a job, you basically now you have 100 jobs. But I
You don't
wouldn't
think about that.
But I wouldn't trade the freedom
Right. Oh no.
for anything in the
Absolutely
world.
not. Yeah.
I knew that that's what I needed,
Right.
and didn't have a problem walking away,
Right.
stepping out on faith,
That's right.
and following the plan that God had.
That's right.
I had a cell phone business.
Yes.
I did taxes. I learned for myself.
Right.
So I learned taxes, the ins
That's
and
what motivated you in the tax.
right for
Yeah,
myself.
for you doing your own tax.
To really know how to help
Mm-hmm.
my business, to learn business taxes, learn how to take advantage of the tax laws.
So it's true then. Necessity is the mother.
yes.
Okay.
But then there was a lot of people in my community that was asking me, how do I start a business? And I saw the lack of business knowledge and lack of true tax understanding. And at that point, I knew that was the place I needed to be.
And that wasn't just in our community. Culturally, that was everybody across
Right.
the board. Wasn't it?
Right. So when you look at the freedom and the happiness, we believe that with God, with Christ, all things are possible. So yes,
We live in proof.
So I used to believe just being a numbers person meant just doing returns and strategizing the rules to maximize the benefits.
I know, baby, no.
But now, it's a tool for actual restoration for other people.
Absolutely.
So for 25 years, we've helped, countless entrepreneurs go from panic to peace.
And actually start and incorporate their own businesses and, structure them the right and correct way The average person, you can ask them, the average small business owner don't even know what their tax designation is, or don't even understand how they're structured.
Right.
I mean, it's just so, crazy to me when we, or intaking clients and calls and learning, questioning, what we need to get started with them. You just ask them just basic questions, and they don't know anything about their business. It's amazing.
So you have an LLC. How are you structured as an LLC?
They cannot tell you.
LLC has a variety of tax structures.
Correct.
So that's you. We're even putting together an entrepreneurial academy because there's that foundational knowledge that people need to have to start off successfully from a tax perspective.
Yes.
To know what it means, to know how important their tax structure is, and what they have going on. So when we look at what we do now, like I said, we've had multiple businesses.
Yes.
All along the process.
Multiple successful businesses.
Successful
God has always blessed us. God moves from glory to glory to glory. He doesn't stagnate. He doesn't digress. He doesn't regress. He always elevates. And God's word also says that there's nothing we can do to promote ourselves. That man cannot promote himself. That God provides promotion. So with that being said, as we've always tried to keep God and keep ourselves in a place where we can hear from him and be led, directed, and guided by him, he's always been faithful to watch over his word to perform it and allow us to elevate, as he would take us. So yes, we've had, we've been property managers, a couple of local CDCs. They had, several scattered housing that we, managed. We've had a construction company, for years, about 17, 18 years. We had, construction company. So, trucking company, we've just, things that we saw an opportunity, for, and almost a lot of it was more so a need within what we were already doing and
right.
were already involved with. So we just umbrellaed and branched and said, hey, look, we already doing this, baby. We might, rather than, giving somebody else, this money, how about we just, boom, do what we need to do to incorporate, another DBA or another, portion or another business up under, so we can be a blessing to other people.
Right.
So, and God blessed us as we've done that. So, just swept away, by her when we met. It was amazing that our spirits were so similar, and it was so much so that a mutual friend told me that. And I really just, felt like I kind of really felt some kind of way, like she was trying to match make. I'm like, look.
Well, I'm glad she did.
I am too. Not gladder than I am. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, and then she said the tax lady. I said, tax lady? I said, what? And so anyway, as soon as I actually...
So 17 years later.
Yeah. 17 years later, and, we got a 16-year-old son that's
right.
absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
God blessed us with, and several different...
Who is also an entrepreneur.
Yeah, who is also an entrepreneur himself.
Has his own business.
Yes, he has his own successful recreational rental business that he rents luxury RV, tricked out golf carts, jet skis, and three-wheel Harley Davidson, and yeah, he's always seemingly has the RV booked. We're out here in Florida, so it's always booked for any of the events up there at Daytona, and God is blessing him, so we couldn't be more proud of him. He really didn't have a choice, though.
Well, it's in his blood.
Right. He was either with you at the office or he was with me out on one of the job sites. I actually used to, when it was time to pay our guys and our subcontractors, used to hand him the checks and tell him to go give them to his subcontractors and his employees and his people and shake their hand and tell them, that he appreciated the great job they did this week.
So as we on a regular basis strive to make sure that we incorporate God's principles within our business, that's one principle that, is far reaching. The word says, train up a child in which they should go, and when they grow old, he won't depart.
That's right.
So that's just part of the training. But
Absolutely.
from a biblical, standpoint, as well as in the world, standpoint.
That's it. God has blessed us. I come from a pastoral family, a pastoral home. So as she said, I grew up, being entrepreneurial really my whole life. So we move according to, as best we can, as often as we can, trying to line up with as much of God's word and submit to as much of God's word as we can. And he does the rest. And so far, it's been an absolute unbelievable
journey.
Yes.
So for us, it's the faith, it's the freedom, it's the lack of fear that enables us to live our best life.
Yes, we are living our best life.
And we want our clients to have those same experiences, to live their best life.
We literally are living our dreams.
And again, being transformational is what we want our clients to, strive to have, to go to a place of understanding that there is a reality that they can have.
Right. Right. It's not just a dream.
Right.
It's not just a dream. We have a plaque right there on the wall that says dreams don't work unless you do.
Right.
So, it's
So we're gonna help you get out of that mud hole.
Right.
We're gonna help you feel like you're not drowning, because you don't have to.
Now, I'm gonna be totally honest. It absolutely does take faith.
Yeah.
Okay, because the word says faith without works is dead.
Right.
She spoke about fear. God said he didn't give us a spirit of fear, but one of love, power, and of a sound mind. So these are the principles, some of them, just a few that, that lead, direct, and guide us, into
all that we do.
Yeah, into all that we do. So we're grateful.
So we want you to recognize that, our objective is to help you, again, be transformational in your life.
Absolutely.
Taxes does not have to be the weight that it is on a lot of small business owners, high income earners, those who have, owe the IRS more than $50,000. So, that's why we created Real Tax Debt Relief.
Absolutely.
Because that's the experience that we want people to have. We want to give them clarity. We want to give them ultimate resolution. A place, we're a place where people are treated like people. Where we have an ear to hear and an understanding. Like you said, we want to empower and enable you to leave a lasting legacy.
That's it.
Beyond your today. Okay. So as a faith-driven business, first and foremost, again, an empowering, transformational firm, we have different systems that we've put in place to help assure that you not only experience that freedom, experience that relief, but that you maintain it.
That's right. And to always understand that, God has blessed us all to never and to always be more than the sum total of our circumstances. Don't ever let circumstances define who you are. What always helps us is to understand, though, whose you are. Mm-hmm. So, we're grateful. It's my honor and privilege, to be able to say that I'm your husband and be able to call you my wife,
and vice versa.
I'm blessed beyond measure. See, I can't really tell y'all. Really, it's just you can't. It's an experience. So we just really want to just
encourage you not to try to do everything yourself, because you can't.
That's
you know,
it.
we small business
How did you know
owners.
what I was getting ready to say?
We small business owners.
Yeah.
We've experienced it. We know what it's like to have to handle everything yourself. But tax matters is a matter that's typically beyond your level of training.
Right. This is something that takes a specific niche of expertise. It's actually it's law. Mm-hmm. So if you haven't studied law, this is just like going to court without an attorney. I mean, when you talk to the IRS, you need to understand IRS tax law and code.
And just know that whatever it is, you can fix it, but only once you face it.
That's it.
That's it.